small business regardless. That meant that the House did not adjourn immediately. They were able to take a few business, lay a few business here and there, take some questions before the House took an adjournment, unlike the previous situation when the House almost adjourned immediately when the House started because the minority were not there. But this session today was a little bit different because a few businesses were considered.
Kweku, thank you for that update. No doubt you'll keep on top of this issue for us. That's our parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante. Now, we've got Joseph Akable joining us now with updates on the case that is causing the boycott in Parliament. Gyakye Quayson returns to court today, and our very own Joseph Akable has been keeping an eye on proceedings. Joseph, how did today unfold as the fate of Gyakye Quayson is decided in court?
Business that was to be dealt with today had to do with a ruling that was to be delivered by the courts. We know that Mr. Quayson has been fighting in the last couple of weeks, raising concerns about the court's decision to hear his case on a day-to-day basis. He initially made a request at the High Court. The High Court said it was going to hold it on a day-to-day basis. He asked the court to review his decision. The court affirmed his decision again. Then he filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal. He again has filed a process at the Supreme Court that effectively wants the case at the High Court to be put on hold. And so he put these matters in front of the High Court and asked the High Court that in view of the fact that there are pending processes at the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, the case should be put on hold. Now, the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, disagreed and had told the court that as far as the laws of Ghana are concerned, unless a higher court gives a lower court an order to halt its proceedings, the lower court was not required to put its proceedings on hold simply because someone has gone to file a process at the higher court. And he made a point that if that were to be allowed, it would mean that all an accused person will have to do is, whenever there is a ruling at the court, he proceeds to file whatever process they want to file at the higher court, and no business will be done. And this argument found favor with the court presided over by Justice Mary Yanzu, and in her ruling today, she did indicate that as far as she is concerned, there had been no evidence showing that there was an order from any court stopping her from proceeding with the case. And so she dismissed the request by Mr. Quayson's legal team to put the case on hold and then proceeded to have the hearing take place with a witness of the state going into the witness box to be cross-examined.
Well, it would appear that there might be even more boycotts coming up if proceedings continue as they have. So, I mean, at this point, as the prosecution continues to lay out its case, how is it affecting what we heard to be Gyakye Quayson's position from the very beginning of this matter? How much of a dent is the prosecution's case making in their defense so far?
In fact, as far as Mr. Quayson's lawyers are concerned, they say that they believe that the case of the prosecution so far, this is just the first witness, they said it hasn't added anything to the charges against him. They hold a view that the prosecution is failing in its quest to prove the case. Now, the first witness is Richard Techimensa. He is the individual who actually went to the police CID to file a criminal complaint against James Gyakye Quayson. He's the one who went there to say that, look, this individual had filed his nomination forms, and in doing the statutory declaration, he had claimed he did not owe allegiance to any other country aside from Ghana, but it turns out that that's not accurate, and so investigate him for various offenses. And so that's what gave rise to this particular process. Now, he was in the box today. He was cross-examined by Chachu Chikata for a very brief period, but very interesting banter between them. The question Mr. Chikata sought to find out from him was the complaint that he had written at the police CID, whether he wrote it himself in English or someone wrote it and gave it to him to submit, or was it a case that he narrated in Twi and it was now translated and written in English for him? Mr. Mensah told the court that he wrote it himself and he wrote it in English. Mr. Chikata asked him whether he was certain he was the one who wrote it in English and signed. He said yes, he did so. And so he was given a copy of that particular criminal complaint and asked to look at the back page where his signature was, and he confirmed that yes, that was his signature and that was the statement he had given to the police. Then he was confronted with another document from the police investigative team's report. Now, in that investigative team report, he was asked to read some few lines from there, and the few sentences he read indicated that the police said the complainant narrated the incident in Twi, and this was written in English for him. And so, as far as Mr. Quayson's legal team are concerned, this was what his response was, that he does not remember. It was a long time ago, and it may have been the case that yes, he had narrated it in Twi. And so, Mr. Quayson's legal team say that this is someone who is clearly not credible as far as they are concerned. In terms of the other matter that has to do with whether in this petition to the police he attached any evidence in support of his claim that James Gyakye Quayson had committed any crime, he said yes, he attached the documents to it, but Mr. Chikata was engaging him on the fact that they do not have records showing that his petition came along with any such documents, especially the statutory declaration that was signed by James Gyakye Quayson when he filed his nomination form. The point was also made about the fact that whether he was aware that the issues that were being raised had previously been canvassed at the Electoral Commission's offices prior to James Gyakye Quayson being cleared to contest the election, and Mr. Quayson managed to, or was given clearance by the EC to contest the polls. And he said he was not aware of that, but those are matters that he read of in the public domain. So it was at that point that the cross-examination ended. And so Mr. Quayson's team said that, look, it was a good day for them. He actually described it as a Black Tuesday. Abraham Maliba says it was an embarrassment of the case of the prosecution. But the Attorney General's office disagreed. Deputy AG Alfred Tuyayagwa told us that as far as of the case of the prosecution, but the Attorney General's office disagreed. Deputy AG Alfred Tuyayagwa told us that as far as
is from our partners, don't go anywhere.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see S-I-N-T-E-X. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntax was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntax again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntax gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntax is the answer. Syntax tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
EcoBank salary account, bro. See, with the EcoBank salary account, you will enjoy free life insurance, free debit card, save while you spend, and an amazing chance to double your salary, and even more consolation rewards in the EcoBank double salary promo reloaded.
Guy, this EcoBank salary account sounds interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, but maybe next time, Charlie. You know what? I'll go shine my shoe.
Hey. Yo, myself, I'll go check my BP.
We going up, never go down, and we stay flat.
Chairman, you see the white sign it here.
Open an EcoBank salary account today for a lifetime of benefits. You also stand a chance to win more than double your salary in the EcoBank Double Salary Promo Reloaded from now till July 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
The job life regardless.
This promo is under the supervision of the National Lottery Authority under the Caritas Lottery Platform.
The Pan-African Bank.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small? A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smile more? Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
The distinguished patronage of His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Ghana National College celebrates its 75th Speech and Prize-Giving Day under the theme 75 Years of Holistic Education, Nurturing Leaders for the 21st Century. Date, July 22nd, 2023. Time, 8 a.m. Venue, Ghana National College, Cape Coast. The celebration will be climaxed with other landmark events as follows. July 16th, Regional Church Service. July 19th, Inter-House Debate. July 20th, Nananum Inspire followed by a sit down. July 21st, Football Gala, AGM, Flag Raising Ceremony and more. July 22nd, Speech and Prize Giving Day, Fundraising Dinner Dance. July 23rd, Thanksgiving Service, swearing in new executives, Omuto Fufu Gathering, Pool Party. Nananum Enyansafo.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Joy News Desk. My name is Aisha Ibrahim.
Let me tell you, this is not a small job at all.
What can you report from the Fana community?
We are still sounding the alarm for people who are hiding to know that help has come.
The board is supposed to be meeting this morning to deliberate on this nominee.
Yes, this problem has been recurring over time.
The people have invested the fruits of their excellence, and you want to throw it away because you think you can. No, it's not lawful for him to do it, period.
What's the basis that these financial assurances will be giving latest today?
If you follow what had transpired over the week, we got the information when the president addressed the May Day celebration, indicating that China is going to come on board.
Welcome back. This is The Pulse. We're glad you're staying with us. Let's take you back to that live press conference where the president of the Ghana Journalists Association is, not asking for a penny in exchange for his thoughts on brutality against journalism. Let's join them. Right, we must apologize. We seem to be having some technical difficulty. We have every intention of taking you back to that all-important press conference, which is addressing the very sensitive but important national issue of brutality against journalists. We've already lost lives. Journalists have already lost their lives as a result of this growing canker. And there are some to whom the damage is irreparable. We've got Latif Idris, who today still lives with the consequences of a single question he asked a police officer on duty. These things must stop, and the GJA is taking the bull by the horns. We'll bring you details. First, this afternoon, we explored the ethical, moral, and societal implications of the death penalty. It remains in Ghana's law books, in spite of it not having been used in the last 30 years or so. Some want to still keep it, others want it removed. This afternoon, Amnesty International has issued a statement urging MPs to support a repeal of this law. Across the world, some elite countries continue to have it, and in some cases actually execute offenders. So these are some of the details from the statement. Amnesty International Ghana is appealing to all members of Parliament to vote in favor of the motion on the Criminal and Other Offences Amendment Bill and the Armed Forces Amendment Bill, seeking to abolish the death penalty in Ghana. More details from that statement shortly, a statement issued by Amnesty International, who are seeking to lobby members of parliament to look at repealing the death penalty from Ghana's law books. Indeed, it has been decades since anyone was executed. But the death penalty does remain in our books, and many have been sentenced to death in the interim. We just haven't seen the sentences being carried out. So we do know that across Africa, there are several countries that have the death penalty. There are 55 nations in the African Union that have the death penalty. It's been abolished in 26 of them. Now, in 15 countries, a long-term moratorium has been applied on executions. That would include Ghana. But there are 15 countries in Africa that retain capital punishment. So it is indeed a ripe debate topic. Around the world, there are thousands of people in China who have been executed. It's probably the country with the highest number of executions. Between 2017 and 2022, thousands of people have been executed in China. Iran would be second. In that same period, 2017 to 2022, more than 576 people have been executed. Saudi Arabia is not far behind. They have killed 196 people through their legal system. Egypt has had 24 death penalties executed between 2017 and 2022. Interestingly, the United States, that has had the death penalty as part of its culture in many of the states, including the southern states, between 2017 and 2022, have executed 18 people. Singapore is behind them with 11. Iraq has also seen more than 11 executions. Kuwait has had 7. In Somalia, more than 6 people have been executed in that 5-year period between 2017 and 2022. And South Sudan is at the bottom of that particular league. They have had over 5 executions in those 5 years under study. Now, the Chief Justice, Gertrude Arabat-Okonu, was asked about her view on the matter during her vetting not so long ago. Let's recall what she had to say.
7 or 8 years in the Court of Appeal, came to the Supreme Court, and here I am. I've just moved on after working for some time.
So in other words, you have risen by merit, and there's nothing partisan in your career.
I would agree with that.
My lady, what is your view on death penalty? What's your view on that?
She's full life. She's full life.
As a Justice of the Supreme Court, I'm mindful of the fact that when cases come to court, if a case came to court, it would be my duty to preside over it. But on a personal level, I do think that the death penalty is too final, and it's something that I would be grateful if the legislative body can begin to look at it.
Lord, if I shot your daughter, it would be final, wouldn't it?
It would be, but you see, in criminal law, we are always looking at the mens rea, not just the actus reus.
Is that not the essence of a trial? That you take all the necessary evidence and circumstances and everything you want to consideration versus the law and come to a conclusion that I shot your daughter, intended to kill her, and I did kill her, and therefore I'm guilty of murder. Would not that be how you would come to
with all due respect, order 69. Mr. Chairman,
you're sharing about people saying we are quarreling. But I control the proceedings. If you want to bring anything to you're sharing about people saying we are quarreling. But I control the proceedings. If you want to bring anything to